Japan is a country with a rich history. This extensive past is intricately linked to every aspect of the language and daily actions down to the smallest details. To truly understand the Japanese people and their culture, it's crucial to delve deeply into Japan's history and traditions. Many aspects of Japanese language usage and behavior patterns have been shaped over this long history and are deeply embedded in the thoughts and values of the Japanese people. Understanding this background will greatly aid in gaining a deeper insight into the unique characteristics of Japanese culture and society. Japanese social characteristics as expressed in language. Japan has a culture that places great emphasis on social status, and this is prominently reflected in the use of first and second-person pronouns in the Japanese language. Terms such as watashi, boku, and or are commonly used, while historically, diverse expressions like sessha, shousei, yo, and wagahai were prevalent. These terms reflect the speaker's age, gender, social status, and even the historical context. For instance, in Japanese dramas and movies, it's common to see samurai refer to themselves as sessha and address their lords as a yakata-sama. Such usage indicates the speaker's social standing and the level of respect for the listener, mirroring Japan's hierarchical society. Particularly in Japanese dramas and anime, terms like senpai and kouai are frequently used. These terms signify the unique social hierarchy in Japan, where senpai refers to someone senior or who joined earlier, and kouai to someone junior or who joined later. This language usage is an important cultural element that illustrates respect and relationships within Japanese society. When explaining these concepts in English, phrases like "I am but a humble servant" might be similar, but this approach is more about conveying the cultural context. A yakata-sama is a term of deep respect used by samurai for their lords, similar in nuance to your lordship or my lord in English, though the latter terms relate more to British nobility, differing from the Japanese context. In Japan, it's customary to address people based on their social position in various situations, including within the family. For example, children call their parents okasan, mother, and otosan, father, and parents use these terms as first-person pronouns. This is not their personal names but rather a way of addressing based on roles, contrasting with the individualism emphasized in Western cultures. Such cultural differences often lead to misunderstandings in communication between Japanese and Westerners. Japanese people's practice of addressing others based on roles and positions may seem formal or distant to Westerners. Conversely, Westerners' direct use of personal names might be perceived as inappropriate or disrespectful by Japanese people. Hence, understanding the cultural background behind language usage is crucial for deepening mutual understanding between different cultures. From a young age, Japanese children are taught about their roles and positions within society. For example, older siblings are referred to as unyaikan or wanichan, and younger siblings are expected to follow their lead. This nurtures respect for elders and consideration for younger family members. Such language usage reinforces a hierarchy based on age and experience within Japanese society. However, this culture can make it challenging to express individual opinions and personalities. The emphasis on blending into the group sometimes forces individuals to suppress their views, especially in situations requiring creative discussions or when opinions differ. This can stifle personal creativity and innovation. Moreover, in a strictly hierarchical system, excessive respect and obedience to those in higher positions can lead to power harassment and unfair treatment. Such situations can become problematic in workplace environments, causing communication barriers and stress among employees. In Japanese culture, appearance and behavior are highly valued, meaning that people pay great attention to maintaining a good impression through their looks and actions. Therefore, formal attire and polite behavior are often expected in Japan. While this may appear fresh and appealing to foreigners, it can also be overwhelming for those unaccustomed to these norms. When attempting to understand Japanese culture, it's essential to pay attention to its historical background and social structure and to adopt a flexible approach in cross-cultural communication. This is key to deeply understanding Japan and enriching the experience of intercultural exchanges. Social characteristics of Japan as expressed in religion. When asked, many Japanese people indicate that they do not adhere to a specific religion. As of December 31, 2020, the Shinto followers numbered approximately 87.92 million, 48.5%, Buddhists were about 83.97 million, 46.4%, Christians were around 1.92 million, 1.1%, and adherents of other religions, non-Shinto, Buddhist, or Christian, were around 7.34 million, 4.0%. This totals approximately 181.14 million, which is about 1.5 times the total population of Japan, approximately 126 million. This suggests that many citizens are counted as followers of multiple religions. However, individual surveys often reveal that only about 20 to 30% of people consider themselves as having some faith or belief, significantly lower than the total population, indicating that many do not consider themselves as believers. Why is this the case? In Japan, while religion is deeply ingrained in daily life, many people do not identify themselves as followers of any specific religion. For example, the act of saying itadakimasu and joining hands before a meal, despite its religious origins, is not commonly viewed as a religious act by most Japanese. Thus, religion in Japan exists more as rituals and customs integrated into daily life rather than as explicit declarations of faith. Religious ceremonies and rituals are often accepted as part of life, not necessarily as expressions of belief, but as cultural and social practices. This is why Shintoism in Japan lacks a defined doctrine and does not engage in proselytization. It is so intertwined with Japanese cultural and social customs that there is no perceived need for it. According to the National Survey of Shinto Shrines and Rituals conducted by the Association of Shinto Shrines from 1990 to 1995, there are approximately 79,335 Shinto shrines in Japan. To put this in perspective, it is a remarkable number compared to about 56,000 convenience stores in Japan as of 2020. In this way, religion in Japan is naturally accepted as part of the cultural and social structure, deeply connected to being Japanese. Furthermore, a distinctive characteristic of Japanese religiosity is the tendency to enjoy religious festivals and events as cultural and seasonal activities rather than as expressions of faith. For instance, events like Obon or New Year's, despite their religious background, are primarily seen as opportunities for family time by many Japanese. Participation in these religious events reflects a culture that values social connections and traditions more than piety. From an outsider's perspective, these practices may seem unusual, but in Japan, these events are not just religious ceremonies, they play an essential role in deepening cultural traditions and family bonds. Thus, religion for the Japanese is not just about belief but is embedded in daily life as cultural customs and social rituals. This lack of deliberate religious behavior is why many Japanese people often indicate a lack of affiliation with any particular religion in surveys. Characteristics of Japan as expressed in geographical conditions. Japan is an archipelagic nation, uniquely surrounded by the sea on all sides. The distance between the closest points of Japan and China is approximately 1,019.20 kilometers, while the distance between Kyushu in Japan and Busan in South Korea is about 214.36 kilometers. These distances are significantly longer than the Dover Strait, with the distance between Japan and China being about 30 times longer, and that between Kyushu and Busan being about 6.3 times longer than the Dover Strait. Such geographical isolation of Japan has deeply influenced its culture and society. Although Japan has been greatly influenced by Chinese culture, this distance allowed it to develop a unique cultural sphere. Initially, Japan imported characters, laws, and culture from Chinese dynasties, ranging from Han to Tang, but these elements were adapted to form Japan's own culture and systems. Japan's isolated geographical environment contributed to the development of an independent cultural sphere, less influenced by external factors, nurturing unique Japanese traditions, customs, and arts. The natural barrier of the sea helped protect Japan from external invasions and promoted internal unity. These geographical features have significantly influenced the Japanese spirit of independence, respect for nature, and interactions with other countries. Unlike continental nations where rulers and ethnicities frequently changed, Japan maintained a relatively stable political system centered around the emperor for long periods. Although internal conflicts and changes in power occurred within Japan, these events rarely affected the emperor's position, who continued to embody the symbol of Japanese culture. This stable political system has provided consistency and uniqueness to Japanese culture and society, laying the foundation for Japan's unique aesthetic sense and values. Japanese culinary culture. Japan, as an island nation surrounded by the sea on all sides, possesses unique geographical conditions. These conditions have deeply influenced Japanese culture and society. For instance, being surrounded by the ocean has led to a rich incorporation of seafood in Japanese culinary culture, which has become a distinctive feature of Japanese cuisine. Fresh seafood is utilized in iconic dishes such as sushi and sashimi, which are highly acclaimed internationally. Additionally, regional cuisines across Japan showcase the diversity of the country's food culture by making the most of local maritime bounty. The geographic nature of being an island has nurtured a food culture that primarily revolves around seafood. Following the introduction of Buddhism, especially during the Edo period, the consumption of meat was largely prohibited in Japan. This prohibition was rooted in Buddhist teachings that discouraged the killing of animals. Consequently, traditional Japanese cuisine placed a greater emphasis on seafood and vegetables. Consumption of meats like beef and pork was not common, with some exceptions for smaller animals like rabbits and birds. This is one of the reasons why seafood became central to Japanese food culture. As Western influences increased after the Meiji Restoration, the culture of consuming meat gradually gained acceptance. However, even in traditional Japanese cuisine today, seafood continues to hold a predominant place. The importance of seasons in Japanese culture. In Japan, there's a deeply ingrained culture of celebrating each of the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. For instance, in haiku poetry, seasonal words known as kigo are used to represent the different times of the year. Japanese people enjoy the cherry blossoms in spring, firework displays in summer, leaf peeping in autumn, and snowy landscapes in winter, cherishing the natural beauty each season brings. Moreover, Japan is rich in seasonal events and foods, with festivities like Oigan in spring, Tonabata in summer, Tsukimi in autumn, and New Year celebrations in winter, all reflecting the essence of each season. These events are a unique expression of Japanese culture, symbolizing a harmonious coexistence with nature and a sense of gratitude. Internationally renowned activities like cherry blossom viewing and spring and autumn leaf hunts underscore the Japanese appreciation for nature's beauty throughout the changing seasons. These seasonal traditions also play an important role in strengthening community bonds and family ties in Japan. Each season in Japan brings its own distinct charm and traditions, deeply enriching the lives and spirit of the Japanese people. If you're visiting Japan, I highly recommend participating in these seasonal events to fully experience the joy and beauty of Japanese seasons. About Japanese music. Japan has long cherished a culture of harmony with nature, a sentiment deeply reflected in its music. The connection between traditional Japanese music and nature. Let's explore the connection between traditional Japanese music and nature. Japanese music, especially classical and folk music, incorporates natural sounds to express the beauty of the changing seasons. The sounds of insects in autumn, for instance, are cherished as symbols of coolness and seasonal transition. In haiku poetry, the sounds of insects are often used as autumnal seasonal words, influencing music to use these sounds to signify the arrival of autumn. Thus, the sound of insects has become a significant element in Japanese music. Japanese music also emphasizes the rhythms of nature. The rhythm and repetition of insect sounds can influence the tempo and rhythm of music, providing listeners with a sense of being a part of the natural world. Furthermore, sounds from nature, including those of insects, have a calming and soothing effect on people. Consequently, Japanese music has actively incorporated natural sounds to bring peace and tranquility to its listeners. This connection between traditional Japanese music and the sounds of insects goes beyond mere musical elements. It reflects the Japanese respect for nature, the culture of experiencing the seasons, and an aesthetic of harmony with the natural world. When listening to Japanese music, consider these backgrounds to appreciate the depth of Japan's culture of valuing harmony with nature. Differences between traditional Japanese and Western music. Traditional Japanese music and Western music differ in their instruments, scales, and styles of performance. Firstly, the instruments used are different. Traditional Japanese music utilizes instruments like the shakuhachi, shamisen, and taiko drums, known for their unique timbres and methods of playing. In contrast, Western music commonly features the piano, violin, and guitar, producing complex harmonies and melodies. Japanese traditional music is based on a pentatonic scale and has unique phrasing, whereas Western music typically uses a heptatonic scale, offering more complex harmonies and tonalities. The styles of performance also vary significantly. Japanese traditional music often includes unique rhythms, pauses, and elements of improvisation. In performances such as no and kabuki, there is a strong emphasis on harmonizing with the acting. Western classical music seeks fidelity to the composer's intentions, and genres like jazz and rock often incorporate improvisation but differ in scales and harmonic theories. The music culture of Japan has undergone diverse changes from ancient times to the present day. Traditional music genres such as gagaku, no, kyogen, jorori, and kabuki reflect Japan's unique cultural and religious backgrounds. With modernization, Japan developed unique music genres influenced by Western music, and post-war saw a revival of traditional cultures, leading to the development of various genres like enka, rock, and jazz to the present day. About Japanese literature. Japanese literature, spanning from classical to modern times, reflects a unique aesthetic and philosophical sensibility. Works from the Heian period, such as The Tale of Genji and The Pillow Book, are considered some of the world's earliest novels and essays, known for their deep psychological insights and delicate emotional expressions. The Edo period is renowned for producing stories and plays rooted in popular culture, like ukiyo-e and various performing arts. A notable distinction from Western literature is the prominence of female authors in Japan. Even in ancient times, women were literate, and many female writers, like Murasaki Shikibu, who wrote The Tale of Genji, and Sei Shonagon, author of The Pillow Book, have played significant roles in the history of Japanese literature. This phenomenon was relatively rare in Western literature of the same era, making it a unique aspect of Japanese literature. Japanese literature also deeply reflects a love for nature and the seasons. Poetic forms such as haiku and tenka delicately capture the beauty of nature and the changing seasons, symbolizing the Japanese culture's appreciation for nature's harmony and the passage of time, deeply ingrained in the Japanese aesthetic. In more recent times, authors like Natsume Soseki and Ryunosuke Akutagawa attempted to blend Western and Japanese cultures, establishing unique literary styles. Soseki's works, such as Kokoro and Bochan, sharply depict the struggles of modernization and individual psychology in Japan. Post-World War II Japanese literature, characterized by its diversity and experimental nature, has received international acclaim, with authors like Yukio Mishima and Kenzaburo Oe. Contemporary writer Haruki Murakami is globally renowned, his unique style and universal themes resonating with readers worldwide. These literary works, combining Japan's unique aesthetics with universal human emotions, continue to impact readers around the globe. Japanese literature contributes to a deeper understanding of Japanese culture and serves as a bridge between diverse cultures. About Japanese painting. Japanese painting is known for its unique artistic techniques, especially the method called deformation. This approach simplifies and abstracts the actual subject, a common feature in traditional Japanese art such as ukiyo-e. It characteristically omits details of people and landscapes boldly, highlighting the beauty of colors and lines. This technique has significantly influenced Japanese anime and manga. Furthermore, Japanese paintings deeply connect with nature. Many artworks feature the changing seasons and natural landscapes, frequently depicting elements like cherry blossoms and autumn leaves, symbols of the seasons in Japanese art. Unlike Western paintings, Japanese paintings often avoid perspective techniques, opting instead for a more planar style. The technique of leaving blank spaces, known as ma, invites viewers' imagination and evokes a sense of serene beauty. In contemporary Japanese art, there's an ongoing fusion of tradition and modernism. Using classical techniques while incorporating modern themes and expressions, new possibilities in Japanese painting are emerging. The relationship between traditional Japanese painting and manga is also noteworthy. Manga, influenced by traditional art, carries visual expressions and compositions, remaining an integral part of Japanese culture even today. Japanese paintings are like mirrors reflecting the country's history and culture. Understanding Japanese art leads to a deeper comprehension of Japanese aesthetics and values. It represents not only the pursuit of visual beauty, but also the expression of spirituality born from the interaction with culture, history, and nature. About Japanese traditional performing arts. Japan boasts a rich array of traditional performing arts, including kagura, no, and kabuki, each with its unique background and characteristics that profoundly reflect the depth of Japanese culture. Kagura. Kagura is performed as part of religious ceremonies, based on myths and legends. Primarily conducted at Shinto shrines, it features dances dedicated to the gods and embodies prayers. In the context of Western culture, it can be likened to church music or sacred dances themed around biblical stories. No. No is a classical form of theatre involving the use of distinctive masks. Known for its subtle movements and poetic, symbolic dialogue, it bears resemblance to the high artistry of Western opera. No explores deep emotions and the human psyche, drawing on myths, legends, and historical events. Kabuki. Originating in the Edo period for a general audience, Kabuki is known for its flamboyant costumes and exaggerated acting. Incorporating music and dance similar to a musical, it emphasizes storytelling and visual appeal. The dramatic makeup and expressive gestures of the actors can be compared to those seen in Western opera and ballet. These traditional arts are like mirrors reflecting Japan's history, culture, and societal changes. They express Japanese aesthetics, spirituality, and reverence for nature and the seasons, leaving a profound impression on audiences. Experiencing these performances offers deep insights into the complexity and diversity of Japanese culture. In conclusion, the culture of Japan, with its uniqueness and diversity, captivates people all over the world. The deep history and aesthetic sensibility of Japan are evident in various aspects such as its language, religion, geography, culinary culture, appreciation of seasons, music, literature, and painting. These cultural elements, deeply rooted in the daily lives of the Japanese, continue to exert a significant influence on the international community. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. Feel free to share parts of this video as long as you provide a clear link to this video and our channel. Our goal is to spread knowledge about Japan to people all around the world, so please use this content freely. However, if you intend to monetize using our content, we may request a portion of the earnings. Using this content maliciously is strictly prohibited. Moreover, we cannot compensate for any disadvantages or issues arising from the use of this content.